Hey guys, how you doing? Boy, have I got a good conversation lined up for you. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, is this guy really doing this? Are we talking about gas cans? Yeah, we're talking about gas cans. We're talking about a certain kind of gas can. Not the can itself, the valves. Okay, let's get into it. So the powers that be, the EPA decided in 2009 or prior, to be exact, January 1st of '09, they made it so gas can manufacturers had to come out with a valve that opens and closes so the gasoline can be controlled, supposedly. Well, we got some pros and cons of that. Let me tell you a few. So, we'll go over these cans. They're all equally a POS from front to back. Maybe one's better than the other, maybe not. So let's get into it. So they decided they need to put a valve on these stupid gas cans. Let me tell you why. So it was all focused around kids. Kids getting into gas, spilling them, knocking them over, whatever it may be. I mean, what are they going to do? Drink it? First of all, let me tell you before we get into it. If you're a guy or a gal that keeps gasoline in your garage, get that son of a bitch outside, get it covered up, get it out of there. Don't keep any gas cans, even a valve gas can, a regular gas can with a vent, without a vent. Get them out of the garage, keep them out of there. Everybody's got a HVAC system in there, probably a water heater. The kids are in there, maybe the dog runs through, knocks over a gas can. I'm going to tell you right now, these fancy gas cans, new or old, if you knock them over, they're still going to leak. It might drip out, it might drip maybe one drip every half hour, but that's still leaking out. That's all it takes. Say you've got a system inside of there, maybe you've got an auto heater or some kind of a cold winter heater inside there. Well, guess what? All it takes is a fume. Boom, there goes the garage. Keep these gas cans out of the garage. Put them outside in the garden shed and keep them away from the house. That's the first problem. If you can do that, you don't even need a valve. You wouldn't need it. You would never even have to worry about the kids getting into the gas cans. So let's talk about it. So in 2009, like we were talking about, January 1st of '09, they came out with this. Had to have it. This is probably the most popular one for a small gas can, lawnmower size gas can. Okay, it's got a stocky build to it. It's got a 45 on the end. Now, this is a two-hand gas can. I'll show you what's going on. Notice in these newer gas cans, they have a handle on the top and that's it. Well, they should have one in the back. So when you've got it in the pour position, you can hold on to the son of a gun from the back, like you should be able to, like this good old Blitz here. Very simple. They seem to leave it out in these new gas cans. Now, this is probably the one you see more often. It's a two-hand, like I said, two-hand operation. You got to pull this, squeeze down, and rotate this collar here so it goes into these grooves. You can't let go of it, otherwise the valve will close, and then, so you're going to have to be starting all over again if you let go of it while you're pouring. So you let that go, and look what happens. After you get a few uses, pin comes out, and it's all plastic inside there. There's a metal spring comes shooting out. Now that valve, it's either stuck open or halfway closed. Useless. So now you got a gas can that's open to the air. You could shove that back on there, but it's not lidded off completely. It'll still fume. Piece of shit, let me tell you. Here's another thing. All these people that are filling these gas cans up at the gas station, people don't like to get their hands covered in gas. So they put it on there and just give it a little cinch. Well, there's another problem. Say this gets knocked over and you've got your valve systems, everything like it should be on this can. It's going to sit there and leak. So what did you do by getting yourself one of these cans? You just made another problem. That's the thing with the EPA and all these other agencies. They try too hard to make things idiot-proof. You cannot fix stupidity in this country. And people, let me tell you, people are always getting dumber in this country, only because we let them. So, we covered this can. Let's go on to this bad boy. Oh, this is my favorite. Let me show you this piece of shit. So, you've got a trigger type mechanism that allows this to push in once you do that. This is a two-hand operation just to open this valve. Once you get it open, then you got to hold it. This is a 5-gallon can, let me mind you. No handle in the back. So there you got to twist it at an awkward angle. That's a flaw in its first. No handle in the back. Now something they did do to these new cans, let me tell you, is they fattened the bottoms up. And let me tell you why they did that. They are heavier duty, which I do like, I approve. That's definitely a plus. Now, something else about these fat bottom cans. All these old school cans you see on the back of Jeeps and holders and this and that, they're made to this size to fit in a holder. They do not make a holder for these fat, stupid new cans. So, there's another issue. Anyways, this valve is a very awkward working mechanism. Another thing about this can is, see the length of this? This length on this is so short, you can't do anything with it. You can get it up right next to the lawnmower. Can't get the damn thing in the tank because it's too short and this tank sticks out too much. So, POS. Now here is another popular one. Not such a bad build. Kind of reminds me of the old pull-out slinky ones. So you got to release this, push down. Simple. It does work. They do break off. People roughhouse with them and then they snap right apart. Then again, good can, you can lift it from a 90-degree angle, get it in there. Of course, you can't hold it with both hands. Guys, let me tell you, a 5-gallon can weighs quite a bit. You know, for someone that's not strong, they got to sit there and hold it. Some people can't afford to use one hand on the valve and hold the whole hold the gas can up and pour what they need to pour. Some people aren't that strong. So that's a flaw. I really don't like flaws in these gas cans, especially with no vents on the back like they used to have a snap vent. They've eliminated that. Now these do have a vent through them. All three of these styles do, but it just sits there and trickles. I mean, you could drink a whole 6-pack by the time you get the gas drained out of that 5-gallon can. Let me show you something else. Now you know things have gotten bad because they've even got a Democrat diesel can now. Of course they've had it when they came out with 09, but I'm just being funny. So here's this is probably the one that you see everywhere now, unfortunately. This is one of the worst ones as well. Let me show you. So you've got a release thing here, and you have to push this down and to get the release. Of course, if you let go of it, damn thing will pop up. Now let me tell you something about this spout. So this spout is the exact size. It's meant to mimic the new car flange type. So on these new cars, you open the fuel cap, the cover, which is the body of the car, and you look in there. There's no actual cap that you spin on, spin off. There's a flange in there that takes an exact size circumference, like a fuel nozzle on a fuel island, or this stupid thing. And you got to stick the thing in there, then it opens up that stainless steel flap, and you can put the gas can in there. Those are kind of good. Those are anti-theft, fuel anti-theft devices, and they do work pretty good. However, if you do not have this size circumference, whether it be in a gas can, a funnel, or a nozzle, you cannot open that flap in that car. Let's say you've got this can on the side of the road full of gas, and you haven't got the right circumference to go in that receptacle on that car. Well, guess what? You're SOL on the side of the freeway. You got gas, but you can't get the son of a bitch into the car because you haven't got the right size freaking tip on the end of it. So that's a flaw in itself. Now, let me tell you, another thing is, you can buy any one of these cans and have it work for a year or two and be happy with it, but something that EPA didn't account for is time and use, and people getting mud, rocks, and grass in these valves and getting them jammed down in there. As soon as you do that, they're obsolete. Either they stay open or they won't open at all. So then it turns into a major POS. Couldn't tell you how I feel about these new cans. Everybody you know, whether it be your neighbors, your uncle, somebody's been complaining to you in the last decade about these cans, I guarantee you. Everybody. Let's talk about this since we're on the gasoline subject. So in Oregon, they just legalized it just a few days ago. After 72 years, we haven't been able to pump our own fuel here in the state of Oregon. Okay, big deal, I understand. You've always been able to pump your own diesel in the state of Oregon. Nice thing for people who drive big rigs or people who want to get in the fuel island, get their stuff and go and leave. So let me tell you this. Oregon just legalized this. People are freaking out. They say, oh, we don't want to pump our own gas, yada. Well, what I want to know is what kind of person would vote to turn this over and to be able to pump their own gas. This is what they've done. They've told people, well, you know what? If we could make it in the state of Oregon where we pump our own fuel, the prices are going to come down. Well, that might be about 10% true. Let me tell you, the fuel prices will come down when fuel stations are not fully staffed. That is a fact. But fuel prices are on the rise nationally. It doesn't matter what coast you're on. They're still going to go up. I can bet you dollars to donuts they're going to go up and they'll surpass the cost that it takes to staff the service station itself. Something else you got to remember. These people, they have never pumped gas in their life. So you got to be at least 72 years old or older to remember from the olden days when we used to have to pump our own gas. You think 73-year-olds are going to go to that computer screen and go, we'll push this button and pump it and we're ready to go. Yeah, I don't think so. Another thing is all these fuel stations, all their computers and screens, all the pump displays, all the buttons, everything is in different locations. The keypads are all different. Every one of those pumps works different. So if you got one dialed in on one station, you go to the next, you'll be lost all over again. I don't understand what people think they're saving by doing that. Well, they're not. And you know what? Let me tell you this. People get into a fuel station, they think, oh yeah, I'm going to get right up there and I'm going to get my car filled up and I'm going to get out of there as quick as I can. Well, something else you didn't account for is a lot of these gas stations are going to the prepay first. So you got to go into the gas station. You say, oh, my car is going to take $25 worth of fuel. You go in there, you give the guy 25 bucks, turns the pump on, you say, oh shit, it took 30. Well, I want to fill it up. So I'm going to go back in there and I'm going to hand the guy another $5 bill. So by the time you're done with both of these transactions and get your tank full, you've went through that front door and saw that cash register twice, which means you've been through that door 4 times. Is that really saving anybody any time versus the guy that works on that fuel island and knows what he's doing all day long? Let's talk about this. The ladies, conservatives, liberals, Republicans, Democrats. It doesn't matter what walk of life you are, where you came from, or who your mom is. I don't give a shit. Women don't want to touch gas nozzles. They don't want to touch these things. They don't want to lift them. They don't want them in the trunk of their car. They don't want a damn thing to do with them. You think a lady is going to get out there in the rain when she's all dressed up, pump gas in a gas tank or put in an actual can that's in her trunk and get this lid nice and tight to where this valve actually does its job? You better think again. Let me tell you. Not in this world, my friends. Maybe in the 50s when people were people. Let's leave off with this. I want you to tell me what kind of person and why you would vote to have the opportunity to be able to pump your own fuel. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. You know what? New Jersey, you guys are lucky. You know why? Because you're the only state in the United States that can still have someone do it for you. You guys are also lucky because you're not next to California. You're on the East Coast. You haven't been Californiized yet. It's coming, let me tell you, unfortunately. Well, let's leave off. Naysayers, go to the head of the line. I'd love to hear your comments. Let me know